Welcome back to the channel. Delighted to have resident guest Callum Quigley on. Massive Liverpool fan, massive Mo Salah fan. We're going to be chatting a lot about Mo Salah tonight. Where he ranks amongst the Premier greats. Does he get enough credit for his consistency? And even if he is currently the best player in the Premier League, and there's a bit of opposition to that. But coming up, we're also going to be looking at obviously Liverpool's one against Everton, Merseyside derby. That we expect anything less. Liverpool and Everton usually lands one way. Chelsea, Arsenal played at an entertaining 2-2 draw. Spurs returned to the top of the table. Outright top of the table will be 2 points, but can they stay there? And we'll also look at, well, they haven't actually come out yet, the Christmas fixtures. They were expected to drop today, but they haven't came out, which probably means bad news for Matchday Going fans, as rumours circulate of Christmas Eve games and a live game every day between December 23rd and the 2nd of January, except Christmas Day. We'll be looking into that and also looking at the 12:30 scheduling row the club and Liverpool seem to have. So delighted to have you on, Cam. So much they get for you. We'll also look at them Champions League games. Not that there's any great games on.
You can skip past them.
We'll skip that. We might even preview Liverpool and Toulouse as well if you're looking to know about that. And we'll also look towards that Manchester derby the weekend. But Cam, delighted to have you on. How have you been?
All good, lad. All quiet. Just I'm happy to have a football back as well. Hey, it was a long 2 weeks without it. Like I meant the Ramsdale breaks here, shocking. Like, but another one coming up now in November again. But sure, we can talk about that later. What I have to have again. Like.
Just do what everybody else does and fly away to Portugal for a week and go mad. I'll say no more about that. But look, only one place to start. Start off with a 12:30 kickoff at the weekend. Liverpool Everton, huge game for me still, Merseyside derby. And Liverpool won 2-0. I mean, Cam, obviously going into the game, Liverpool fans were confident, but I mean, Everton look a wee bit better than they did last year, and they did make it difficult. Obviously, even with 10 men, they still made it difficult, and it took that penalty for Liverpool to get in front. But I mean, what did you make of the game in general?
Oh, it's per game. It usually is as well, to be honest. But like as you say, like Everton they have it on them. They kind of go away to a team like Brentford and away to Brighton last year and get a result out of nowhere. Like so. The Merseyside derby is always a rotten game, I think, to be honest. So I thought we had won, but it wasn't a pretty game, and I was right. Like if I had missed that penalty, it would have been. I said to my dad, well, if he misses his penalty, I'd probably finished now. Like it was going that way. I just thought.
Because he missed a couple of penalties, didn't they? I know he scored against Brighton, but it was a very good penalty under the pressure because there was only 15, 20 minutes to go. And in the end, they won the game 2-0. I mean, a lot of talk about Núñez. I mean, should he be starting games? But do you think there's an argument that he's better coming off the bench and stretching games, and like he's been brilliant off the bench this season?
Look, I can see it. I understand what you're saying, but I'd be starting him like the way he's playing. He's confident. He's a confidence player. As you've seen like the Newcastle game as well. And if he had came on against Usens, who knows what would have happened? But no, I'd be starting every game. I think he's good enough. He has that confidence about him now, and you can see when he comes on, he does stretch games and. I think we need that from the start because we were prepared in the first half, I thought, last weekend.
What do you think the reason is that he's not starting games? I mean, do you think he would have started that game if it wasn't, traveling back from Uruguay? Or do you expect him to start the next game, or would you be surprised if he come off the bench in the next game, or how do you see it?
No, they were saying last week as well. He was like about a muscle injury as well. He was a Uruguay, like he played 290 amount of games there, like so. I think it was just more to do with that there, but. As well, you're looking at the five. We've a front five, like so he has that freedom to rotate it, like and depend on who we're playing, like. But I think, as I was saying, he's that type of player. He needs 90 minutes every week. He's not. He has an impact off the bench as you've seen, but I think he's a confidence player and he needs rubbing, like.
Speaking about rotation, but one player that doesn't seem to be rotated at Liverpool, even played the last Europa League game, was Mo Salah. I mean. Wasn't his best game, but in the end, scores a pressure penalty and finishes the game off with a clinical finish. I mean, everyone's talking about different players. I mean, do you think Mo Salah is the most consistent? I don't mean this season, but I mean over the last 3 to 4 seasons. I mean, is it only really De Bruyne you can put in that category of being the most consistent?
Yeah, I know people probably call me about it. Speaking for a while, on there too. Like I can't remember a bad game. I'm a long time. Like, Salah's been putting nearly 30 all goals in a year now for 6 years. So I think the stats don't lie, to be honest. Like, you know how much I love Salah, argue all day long. Like, and he's one of the best ever to do it. So,
do do you think people take it for granted now? Obviously, because I mean, he's 7 goals, 4 assists in 9 games, and no one's really speaking about him at all.
It's kind of like he's victim of his own success. You've seen it with Messi too. Obviously, he's not Messi's level, but I mean, as in when they do it for that long, they you don't really notice it as much. Whereas you see like no Maddison coming onto the team now, and he hasn't had that hype before. Really, like it's noticed more. You know what I mean? Like it's only just happened now, but where Salah's doing it for 6 years, it's just that you expect it of him. You're more kind of worried when he doesn't do it than when he does do it.
I mean, do you think he's been, he hasn't been at his best in terms of like, I've seen him take teams apart, dribbling in and out. He hasn't really been doing that this season, but he's been effective. Do you think his game's changing slightly as he gets older, where he's almost like Ronaldo and Messi? Once they weren't getting older, they weren't going past players for fun like they used to, but they were still being devastating and ruthless when they got the chances. I mean, as his game changing and as he just being more effective instead of being heavily involved. I mean, he has started getting more assists and stuff. He's probably become less.
I know what you mean. To be fair, like, but
a lot more smarter in terms of a bit more streetwise.
You could argue it 100%, but like I don't think he's lost a yard of piss or anything yet either. Like I don't know if that was what you were suggesting, like, but no, you can see the way I think his passing's very, very underrated. The name assists he's racking up there, not easy passes. Like you can go for the 2 for Nunes, against Newcastle and stuff like that. There, I think people just look at him as a goal scorer and they go, look at the goals. But I think he's all around games kind of underrated, to be honest, and he is getting that piss will drop eventually, so he will have to adapt his game a bit. But no, I think he's just more of a complete player now, I think, at this stage of his career.
Where do you think he ranks amongst the Prem greats? I mean, everyone speaks about the likes of Rooney, Henry, Shearer to a certain extent. Your likes of Scholes, your Giggs, your Beckhams, your Frank Lampards. I'm trying to think of midfielders and attackers. I don't really bring defenders onto it too much because we wouldn't really be comparing them to them, but them kind of midfielders and attackers that were consistent performers and won trophies. I mean, where does he rank amongst them players?
He's right. He's right up there. Like I know it's hard to think on a spot now because you're live on a podcast, but I'd be thinking he's top 5 in the league, in the Premier League ever. Yeah. He's probably Liverpool's best Premier League player ever, ahead of Gerrard, and that's saying something. I love Gerrard. Like I grew up watching him, but
you think so? I
think the consistency and the trophies he's won at Liverpool, I think he takes it past Gerrard. And if he's not passing,
if you were to put that out to a poll, the all Liverpool fans, what do you think the percentage would be? Best Premier League player, Salah, Gerrard?
I think most people probably say Gerrard because he's been and gone, and Salah's still doing it. But I think if you look at it logically and rationally, I think Salah's probably, for what he's done for Liverpool in the Premier League, he's won the Premier League. The consistency of the past 6 years, he hasn't been injured once. I don't want to jinx that.
Do you argue that Salah's played with better players than Gerrard?
No, 100%. Like, but I think I know if you put Gerrard not their team, what does Liverpool do? You know what I mean? But I don't know.
Probably funny second behind Spurs.
I don't know. Jesus Christ! But no, I think the older probably Liverpool fans will be saying Gerrard. But I think who was it? Was the Kjarker said? I think Kjarker said it. He said Mo Salah is probably our greatest player in the Premier League ever. So, big praise.
I mean, let's get back to talking about the game. I mean, massive controversy. I mean, wouldn't be controversy about Liverpool these days. I mean, this time it actually went for them. I've seen a lot of criticism amongst Liverpool fans for referees and VAR. I mean, Ashley Young gets sent off. Hard to argue when you see that, especially the first one was a stonewall yellow card. Second one maybe a wee bit harsh, but I don't think anyone can complain too much. I think the complaint started because Konate then didn't see a red. I mean, his second yellow card was as plain as day. I mean, why did he stay on the pitch? I'm trying to get you in the referee's head here. I mean, what did he see that nobody else did?
Well, this is the thing now, because I don't think fans are the fans, right? They are happy enough with a certain rule X, Y, and Z if it's consistently followed every week. We were having this conversation now for how long. It's Ashley Young gets sent off and he gets rightly sent off, and then the reason we're having the problem here now is the reason we're complaining, shouting for replays and all the rest of it is you see a perfect example now on Saturday. Ashley Young gets sent off for 2 yellows, and Konate near enough the same type of challenge. It was Senegal, the player gets past him and he brings him down, and it's not given like that. Where the frustration comes. I think you can. I think he bottled it, to be honest, because
come on, that. But I mean, I actually remember watching it happen. I was watching the game live, and I actually seen Konate's fist as the referee blew the whistle. I think he expected himself to be going.
I know. And Klopp took him off a minute after. You know, like.
I mean, we talk about it every podcast nearly whoever's on, but why? Do you think this lack of consistency is just down to a lack of ability, or do you think it's down to a lack of character? I mean, that was a big moment and a big game. You know, why do you think the referee? I mean, he's a professional referee. It wasn't a hard decision. What do you think was the reason that the consistency wasn't followed?
God knows. I honestly, I don't have an answer for you, to be honest. It's everyone can see it was clear as day. Like, whether or not everyone would have got something in the match is another question. But you still have to give the you still have to give
my autograph. You have to get the back of the queue.
You still have to.
Dean shouting "Yeah, Army," a big Spurs fan from Donegal. Dean, great to have you listening. I mean, as you said, it was a head scratcher. I mean, you hinted at. I mean, did he bottle it? Did he freeze at the big moment? You know, it was 0-0. Liverpool have had a few decisions go against them this season. I mean, it didn't look like a goal was coming until the penalty. You know, Liverpool were dominant in the ball, but wasn't they say Pickford was making save after save? And I mean, that was possibly would have been a game changer. It would have been a leveler, 10v10. I mean, I think he just froze on the spot. I don't know about you.
As I said, I don't really have an answer. The only one you can probably say is he bottled it because he's seen it. I don't know. Like, maybe it wasn't loads and loads of contact. I think his left leg or his left knee kind of clipped. Was it Beto? I can't remember who it was, but like it didn't look like I remember the Ashley Young first one. It was like he went on behind him, like it was one of them ones, but I think it's because it was kind of a coming together. Maybe
I don't know. Said it was clear as day. I don't know if he's referring to the yellow card or someone else there, but we'll let that go. But
I don't know. It's hard to explain. Maybe because you've seen too. Mike Dean said he came out and said months ago now, like he saved one of the rest because they had a bad game and stuff like that there. So we just don't know. Do
you think there's an element amongst referees that Liverpool are owed? I mean, like they got a penalty. I know they got the stone penalty, but they've had a couple of penalties in the last two games. They've had Konate stay on the pitch.
But the penalties were penalties. Like
no, they were penalties. But I mean, you know, do you feel there's an element of referees maybe feeling that they owe Liverpool a wee bit?
No, I don't think so, to be honest. Maybe people watching think I'm biased, but I don't think so. Honestly, big time.
They would have a tale to tell. I'll tell you that. A few of them boys would.
Honestly, I think the referees
for very many things, by the way.
I think the referees do go out hand on heart and try to have the best game that they could have every week, but I don't know. I think it's just a lack of competency, to be honest. I don't think they're good enough. Like, and as you've seen too with after Liverpool Spurs game about the boys going over to UAE for a couple of days before, and then Kjarger was saying a week after, why are we not bringing refs in from around Europe? So I don't know why we can't do that. Like,
yeah, I mean, the one thing I thought definitely come out of the game was a lot of the stats said Everton were much better this season than they were last year. Did you get that from the game? I mean, I thought they were competitive. They didn't really have a.
I wouldn't say they were competitive threat. I wouldn't say that.
I think they were. I think they made it difficult for Liverpool at times.
Oh, come on, I don't know. I maybe I'm biased against them, Liverpool fan, but I was watching them and they had nothing really about them. Like, I know.
Well, they were down to 10 men for parts of since the first half. I mean, it was always going to be
the only good chance I remember was in like the first or second minute.
I'm not saying they created loads and loads of chances. I thought they made it difficult for Liverpool and they competed.
Maybe, I don't know. I didn't see much there, to be honest. I really didn't.
Were you always confident in the last 20 minutes Liverpool would find a goal?
No, I wasn't, but that doesn't mean Everton are as good as what you're saying. I think it was just a poor game. As I said to my dad, if we miss this penalty now, it'll probably end 0-0. But Everton, I'm sure they got bit 4 in a row at home, so I don't think
they've been unlucky in some of the games, haven't they?
I suppose that you're talking about their XG and all the rest. They probably should have scored more, but
whereas last season they weren't doing that, were they? They were struggling in every game.
I suppose you're right then, but they're lucky with the likes of Sheffield. Them 3 teams that came up, Luton, Sheffield, and Burnley, they are terrible. Well, probably most of them will be going back down, I think.
A lot of Spurs fans about tonight, boys. You had army everywhere. All this, they're out in full force.
Out,
Callum,
out of the woods after a few years.
I mean, I have to say this Spurs connection's growing ever stronger. Hold on to your hats because we are going to talk about Spurs that are on. I'm going to come to Stamford Bridge first. That was a very entertaining game. I mean, everybody thought Arsenal would go there and sweep my side. Didn't it? Everyone was Arsenal were favourites. I mean, what did you make of the game? I thought Chelsea, it's probably the best we've seen them under Poch.
I remember listening to the commentary. Neville said he's all the Poch will be looking at there now and say to them, you have a standard now. That there's the standard that you set, so you shouldn't be dropping below that there. Like, so no, it was a good game. Sanchez gave Arsenal a point, in my opinion, because they weren't going to score. They weren't going to score until he gave them a goal, and then that completely changed the last 15 minutes because I thought Chelsea shut them down the whole game, to be honest. Like.
Jackson in the chat, he's saying you'd scum, so we have a couple of Arsenal fans on as well. No, I think you were right. I think Chelsea were very good, and Arsenal in the end were running out of ideas, and they got gifted away back in the game, and it kind of changed. I mean, one thing getting the gift, but I mean, they still had to respond and go, and they battered Chelsea for them last sort of 15 minutes. I mean, did that show you a different side to Arsenal, one we haven't seen? Especially away in a big game, they've always been tarred with a brush of, they've changed it to a certain extent over the last year or so, but I haven't seen 2-0 down away from home against a big side and come back for a long time. So I mean, do you think that's title credential material?
I'm not quite sure because they didn't create that comeback themselves necessarily. I think the Sanchez when they kicked the ball out, that just kind of bred a kind of nervousness around the men. That there's kind of where to be fair, the pass from Saka was quality, to be fair to him, but no, look, I need to see more from Arsenal, to be honest. I need to see more. I think City are still a team to beat at the minute.
So you think it was more fortune than quality?
I think that kind of the bread and nervousness same with that first goal. Chelsea didn't really know what to do then.
I mean, the one massive talking point around Arsenal at the minute is the two goalkeepers. I mean, Raya was to come on and make this a very, let's push the two goalkeepers on, but it's bounced the other way where Raya's come on and made a few mistakes. All the talk of he shouldn't have signed him now because he had Ramsdale. Ramsdale didn't do a lot wrong. Yes, he made a couple of mistakes, but nothing too major. I think he was in the PFA team of the year last year. And there's calls from the playing England team over Pickford. So I mean, has this decision backfired?
Big one so far. I don't think Ramsdale is a title winning goalkeeper, so I think the logic and trying to bring in someone else was the correct logic. Whether or not Raya is that man is another question. I think it kind of has backfired because I don't think Raya is streets ahead of Ramsdale. I think if he's streets ahead of him, then everyone goes, oh geez, what a decision. But I think it's because they're kind of similar in quality and the kind of nervy moments really make it more of a question at the minute. But if he gets a string of 6, 7, 8 games where he's excellent, then that kind of argument goes out the window and then it's justified. So like football changes quickly. You could have a few good games, then it changes. But I think the logic behind trying to get another goalkeeper on it was the right logic. So I don't think Ramsdale is good enough. They won the mic.
I think you're right, and they're that way. As you said, Ramsdale, he's not an Allison type of goalkeeper that's going to, in the big moments maybe. He's made some big saves, but he's made some big mistakes as well. I mean, do you think Raya's learning what it's like to be at a top club chasing a title? I mean, Brentford, you can make great saves. You might have 30 shots, 20, 30 shots coming at you. You might make great saves, but at Arsenal, you're expected to play out of the back under pressure. You might not have to make that many saves in a game. I mean, in the end, he nearly cost an hour goal. I mean, Palmer tried to get around him and he recovered, to be fair to him. But, I mean, maybe on an hour day that goes in and he makes a second mistake and the game's over 3-0. I mean, do you look at him at the minute? He looks like the world's on his shoulders. I mean, obviously Ramsdale must be feeling pretty bad about being dropped. But, I mean, do you think Raya's feeling the pressure of being sort of given that opportunity?
You're especially who we Man City. He's seen throughout the years with Liverpool. It's a draw feels like a defeat. There's just so much pressure. They won every single game, and at the minute he's kind of feeling that pressure. I think it's just as you say, it's completely different going away to a big ground. I know Chelsea isn't their team isn't no top level at the minute, but it's still a big ground. It's a big game, and he seen it. He felt it, and there was moments too. Who would they play last time as well? I can't remember. Against Man City as well, in the first half. He's a
He
couple of
made a
nervy
mistake
moments as
in the
well.
Champions League against Lens too, didn't he?
Exactly. I know I think he is feeling the pressure, but it's 1-1. You have to give him time. Arteta's made the decision, and you just have to stick with it and see how it goes.
Do you expect him to stick with it now? I mean, do you expect Raya to keep on playing?
No, he has to, because I'm not in defeat now. Your pants pulled down then. Like, you can't go against it now. Like, you have to stick with.
What would it take for him to change his mind? I mean, do you think? How many more lives would Raya have? I mean, how many more lives does he have?
Yeah, it has to be a run of consistently bad games or something. I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, but one thing I would say, Arteta's ruthless. That whole situation itself and trying to replace Ramsdale, that's ruthless. You know what I mean? So he makes sound decisions. You've seen it with Aubameyang 2 years ago. He'll drop people. He's firm in what he does. So in that sense, he'll stick with him. But at the same time, if he just doesn't feel it, then he will go back. But that makes him look like a fool then. So it's hard to say at the minute.
Washington saying he's been very dodgy last few matches. He's not a fan. I mean, there was another team in the game. I mean, everyone wrote them off before the game. But I mean, were you surprised with how impressive Chelsea were? I mean, and only won 2 in a row, but was against teams they probably expected to beat, teams that have been struggling, and Fulham and Burnley. Other than that, any time they've played a big team over the last sort of 12 months, I know that Pochettino's not been there that whole time, but they've really struggled. There was that crazy stat about when they were 12th, they haven't been anybody above them last year. And, they come out of the blocks fast and put Arsenal under real pressure in the first half. So, I mean, we shocked by that? Because I think we were chatting before the game, and everybody I was kind of chatting, who was expecting Arsenal to go and roll them over.
To be honest, I didn't say they're going to roll them over, but I thought Arsenal were going to win the game. But now looking back, it's kind of Chelsea are going to click at some stage. They have too many good players, not they? I think the surprise comes from that they've done it so early on against a good team at home. So, look, as Neville said, that there's the standard they set now, and you can't fall below that. So they have quality players. There's no denying that. But it's just a matter of Poch getting well, first of all, his best 11, and then getting them out every week and perform at the level they can.
You think that's the difference between Pochettino and Potter at the moment, that even when things have gone slightly wrong, they haven't got the results, he's kind of stuck with the same team. He's maybe made 1 or 2 changes, whereas Potter was making 4 and 5 changes week by week. Whereas you sort of know he's kind of always had the same sort of 8 or 9, and maybe rotated around. And he's stuck with them, and he's praised them even when results haven't there. He says, "Look, we're playing well. We're just not getting the luck, or we're not putting the ball in the net." I mean, is that the difference between a top coach and maybe someone that's maybe could be a top coach but not there at the minute?
I know, I agree with what you're saying too, but I think it's more a timing thing, because Poch had a full summer to kind of get a red out too, so they have got rid of players. Like, I know they signed up a fair few again as well, but I think it's more Poch had a full summer to kind of mold the squad that he wanted, whereas Potter came in kind of during the season, whatever, don't they not? So it's kind of just dealing with what he had. So he was trying to chop and change quickly to get it going, but. No, Poch is obviously a better manager. Potter will come back in the Premier League, that's him. So, no, I think it was more to do with timing, if I had to say so.
I mean, obviously, I'm not Pochettino's biggest fan anymore, but I mean, for a long time, I was a massive fan of him. A lot of teams in Europe wanted him. He stayed at Spurs. I mean, at one point, he was even being talked about as, in that category with Klopp and Pep, because what he was doing at Spurs was, on the funds he was doing it on. Obviously, he hasn't really done anything since. Went to PSG, didn't really work out. And now he's at Chelsea. Hasn't started well, but they're starting to get our piss. I mean, I have to think back to Poch's first season at Spurs, and that game reminded me so much of his first season at Spurs on Saturday, where we didn't start quite well, but there were certain games where you could see he was starting to put his identity on the team. I mean, I think every Chelsea fan was delighted with the performance, but disappointed they didn't see it out. Don't think you can blame Poch too much for it with a goalkeeping mistake. But I mean, did you see signs of that Pochettino team, the high pressing, positionally, they were in the right places. They stopped Arsenal's main players getting on the ball. They were really well coached. I mean, do you expect to see this Chelsea team now go from strength to strength from week to week?
Even though I'm not his biggest fan, I thought Conor Gallagher was locked down Rice, to be honest, and I love Rice. I'm a massive fan.
This is what Pochettino does. He improves players as well.
Conor Gallagher's a workhorse. That's why he's a captain. You know what you're getting out of him every week. And I thought he had a class game on Saturday, to be honest. As you say, you can see now the kind of early signs of kind of as his identity. There's loads of top players there. Like, you can lasts as long as your arm. They have a quality group, so it's just a matter now of him slowly getting that team together. And look, there's no everyone was taking a hand at them, but there's no doubt they will be a top team very soon. Like,
going to put you in the spot here. Can Chelsea finish in the top 5, which may get them Champions League football? I know it's top 4 everyone talks about, but I think that's going to change over the next few years. It's going to be sort of top 5 now. I mean, I think everyone fancies the top 4 to the top 4. I mean, are Chelsea favourites for that 5th spot, or do you still think there's teams ahead of
them? No, I don't think they'll get 5th. I think there's teams like Newcastle that are more organised and they're more consistent. I know it's early if Chelsea can find that consistency after the new year, maybe, but I think the top 4 nearly names itself at the minute, and then you have your teams like Brighton, Newcastle, Man United, Spurs. I think they'll find it difficult, but they are playing once a week too, so I'm not sure. I haven't seen enough consistency.
If he doesn't make the top 5, do you think he'll still be okay for next season? I mean, he spent a lot of money. If he can't finish in the top 5, will he be under pressure?
No, I think he'll be all right. I think it's more the pressure of the financials is obviously huge, because if they don't win big trophy soon, then all that spending's going to come backfiring on them. I was reading up about it, so there's pressure there, no doubt. But I don't think if he finishes 6th or whatever, he'll get sacked. I can't see it. I think it's just it'd be too rash. But I mean, I suppose that's what Tall Boy is. He is rash, but you can't do that every year. Like, it's impossible.
I think the fans will start to lose faith if they're going for an hour change.
Exactly. I know it's not. I can't see it. It'd be silly. Like, you have to show this.
I mean, Monday Night Football last night, before we actually come on top of the game, was quite a good show. I mean, the analysis was brilliant. I mean, have to hold my hands up. I was asking why Gary O'Neill was on, because I was fancying. I mean, I had it in my head, Berbatov was going to be on just with a Spurs Fulham connection, but he's right to point out. I missed that part, so I mean, I must have been sleeping during that part. I mean, I just remember Carragher was told not to reveal who it was the next day. And Sky were going to put it out, so that even made me more excited because I thought it was going to be big. And then I seen Gary O'Neill, I was quite disappointed. But as soon as the show started, I was instantly drawn to this man. I mean, how much did you enjoy that analysis last night, pre and post game?
I thought he was top class. I was the same. I was like chatting to my friends too. I was like, why is he on that? Like, I know he's a Premier League manager, but I thought there would have been a bigger name as well. Kind of thought there was going to be. I don't even know who. I'm trying to think off the top of my head now, but I just didn't think it was him. And then, as you say, post match, I love that post match. The analysis of the Man City Wolves match, thought that was class. He looks really, really good. He was probably the best manager we've seen on Monday Night Football so far. I know that's my opinion on it.
I mean, we're apologies. I have a cold coming down. I mean, where do you think he can end up as a manager?
It's so difficult. He's only starting really, like, isn't he? Like, in terms of they done a good job at Bournemouth last year keeping them up, and as he said, he thought he was going to get kept on, but the Premier League's ruthless and all that. But look, he looks
really. Could you see him moving on if they done well at Wolves? Could you see him moving on to maybe a Brighton? If De Zerbi moves on, would he be somebody Brighton will be looking at? And if he does well there, could a top team come calling?
It's too early to say. I don't know. You have to see how he does with Wolves, because everyone had Wolves down before they kicked the ball because they didn't buy anyone. They sold a lot of players.
Same with Bournemouth, really, wasn't it?
And he came on 4 days' notice. All the rest of it, I at Wolves and about like a bottom 3 or 4, like the way kind of their window panned out. And he's come on. He's got some big results already. Like luckily for him, there's.
I think that's really important, though, that he backs himself. You know, he's not feared of a challenge. I mean, nobody wanted that Bournemouth job, and Parker said. I think Parker says you need holy water to keep this team in the league. I mean, and they need the Pope to come and visit them. They had no chance. He keeps them up. Goes to Wolves. They hadn't signed any players. Lopetegui lost the head, walked out, and 4 days for season. He goes, you know what? I'm going to get off the beach I'm on. I'm going to go on. I'm going to take them. And I mean, against United, you would have swore that was a team that was together for a long time, because they battered United off the park for a team that only had a few sessions. I mean, and they beat Man City. They give you a game for 45 minutes. And they probably could have been further ahead, and then they didn't, and they were punished. I mean, they've done quite well in the big games, and they've picked up results. I mean, so he's got all the signs are that he could be a very, very good coach.
I think so, 100%. I think it's just I like the confidence. I like the eagerness. Like, as he was saying, the eagerness to go on, and he loves the pressure. He throw everything at me. I'll drip feed at the squad and stuff like that. It's just the stuff that us normal fans don't ever get to really hear. That's what the beauty of having Monday Night Football and having a manager on. It's like it's class, like, and for him, he needs to see how he does with Wolves first, but they keep them up, which at the moment the way the rest of the bottom of the league's going, I think it shouldn't be too hard. But look, he could go to Brighton, he could go to a Palace or something. I'm trying to think of teams now.
Maybe it's Maybe Liverpool coming from.
Well, don't be silly. Klopp's going nowhere.
I mean, let's focus on the game. I mean, obviously Spurs fans were looking for it, but it became very apparent early on this was going to be a walk in the park for Spurs. I mean, do you put that down to maybe how much Spurs have come on or fallen just a very, very poor side?
It's always about both. I said in the first half, I was like, that press just reminded me of Liverpool. Like, you had Fulham suffocating. Like, every time Fulham got the ball, it was 3 or 4 swarming around the ball. Spurs just look like the shackles have come off in the band. I don't want to blow your head up too much, but thanks to another factor, Kane leaving is so you can kind of see the brilliance of Son now on his own.
And I mean, a lot of people wrote him off, including me. I thought, you know what, this man could be finished, but I mean, he's clinical, he's ruthless. I mean, that goal wasn't easy; he made it look easy.
That's what he does, and that's what he has been doing for seasons. You wouldn't think I'm the same person that one of my combined 11 for weeks ago, but no, he's quality. Like, he's unbelievable.
We all make mistakes in this game.
Look, it's kind of similar. They saw in earlier on where that consistency. He's been going for so long where it kind of gets took for granted. As you say, when that ball fell to him last night, you just thought it's a goal no matter what.
I mean, the one did take Spurs top by 2 points. I mean, it's been a good start for Spurs. I mean, I remember we had a conversation in the summer about Spurs need things to go their way, like an anomaly. But you have to say all the teams around them are performing. Liverpool are performing. Man City are still there. Arsenal are there. I mean, you have to give Spurs a lot of credit. They're keeping it up against the best teams.
100%. I know people would argue, and it's not a terrible argument, that you haven't played loads of big teams yet. You've played 3 of the bottom 4, I think.
Played the bottom 4.
Let's
talk about that. I mean, do you believe in this Spurs have an easy start? Because you rightly pointed out we have played the bottom 4, but we have played United, we have played Arsenal, and we have played Liverpool.
It's kind of a lose-lose situation because you played the bottom 4 and you put the bottom 4, but a Spurs lost 2 of them games. It'd be typical Spurs, like that there. So you can't really want in that sense, like. But no, I know that's cliche. You play everybody twice. It's as simple as that. So no, look, you're playing well. No matter who it is, you've had played well this year. I think your worst game was against Liverpool, which is ironic because it was against 9 men. But no, you're playing well. I think the performances speak for themselves, to be honest.
I mean, one man that's getting a lot of credit is James Maddison. I mean, a lot of talk about him at the minute. Carragher said last night he's the most influential player in the Premier League at the minute. I mean, where does he rank amongst, I don't mean overall and outright, but in these first 9 games, has there been a better player in the league than Maddison?
You're probably asking the wrong person because I'll always say Salah, but I think it's hard to disagree with that influential kind of statement of what Carragher said.
I think the fact that he's come on to a new team, he's took the number 10 shirt off Kane, all these different circumstances, people think how Spurs going to go for Harry Kane, and it's as if he's been there for years.
I 100%, I agree. It's just like he looks like he's the heartbeat already. Everything goes through him. He just breathes confidence. He looks like, as you say, he's been the captain for 10 years, never mind 5 weeks. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I see the type of character Spurs have been missing over the years. I know you could point to Kane, being a leader, but I mean, Maddison comes in, give me the armband, I don't give me the number 10 shirt. I don't care. He says he thrives under pressure and he thrives off challenges. I mean, Spurs have been notoriously, tarred with that soft Spursy tag. I mean, Maddison at the minute looks the complete opposite of that. I mean, is he the type of force that Spurs are going to need if they're going to do anything this year?
Look, you always need characters. I don't think you've lacked characters. I think he's just a different type of personality to the likes of Kane and Son. Both of them will be 2 quiet players and kind of lead by their performances, whereas Maddison, as you've seen the interviews, he's more outgoing, he's more spoken, he's got a personality about him. I think he's just a different type of leader than what he's had personally, like, or previously, like Lloris and stuff like that. I think all kind of quiet. Really, they're completely different. And then coupled up with Ange, he's another outspoken personality. I think it's just kind of it gels well. Like.
I mean, a lot of talk about England in the summer. Southgate, what's he going to pick? What team's he going to pick? I mean, look around at the moment, and he's got a wealth of talent they pick from. I mean, I think Southgate wishes the Euros was next week because he's got Bellingham in the form of his life. Kane started like a train in Bayern Munich. Maddison's playing the best football of his career at Spurs. I mean, Saka's been scoring goals. He's got a lot of players on form, and that attacking part of the pitch. I mean, how important do you think it is for Southgate, one, to get it right? But I mean, do you expect Maddison to start on this? If he's picking the team in the summer, he likes to play a 4-3-3. Will Maddison be in the team?
I don't think so, and that's not because he's not good enough. He's obviously more good enough. I just don't think Southgate has style of allowing to pick him. He'll play the two holding midfielders, and he'll have someone else going forward. And if you're picking between Maddison and Bellingham, it's a no-brainer. As much as you love Maddison, like Bellingham's in the form of his life. He's probably the best.
What would happen, right? Let's just say I'm going to be too counteract. If Maddison keeps doing what he's doing and Bellingham drops off, do you still expect him to play Bellingham anyway?
Probably. I think Bellingham,
because he doesn't really pick players on form. He sort of picks his favorites.
I think Bellingham has that X factor about him. He can just perform in a big game. I'm not saying Maddison can't. I know it's hard to explain, but like he's trusted him too in the World Cup last year as well and stuff like that there. So it's. I think he favor whoever he favors. You see it with Maguire and stuff like that there as well. Whoever he likes, doesn't really matter how well or bad they're playing at the time. Like,
do you think the two of them can play together in midfield? Do you think there's any way you go with that? Rice, Bellingham, and Maddison.
No, it's too unbalanced, Gareth.
Maybe in a smaller game, maybe against one of the weaker teams.
In a smaller game, but if you're playing in a World Cup semi-final or a Euros semi-final next summer against France, it's never happening. He's always going to pick Rice and kind of follow-ups or something like that there with Bellingham going forward. Like he'll never.
They will crucify him if he plays Rice.
I think next summer is his last tournament anyway, but if he doesn't want it, he'll definitely be out. No, I just can't. I think loads of people would agree. I don't think he can get a team with them two in it. Madison and
he did try to play him off the left against Ukraine. That didn't work. I mean, do you think that was the experiment failed? That'll be the end of it.
I can't see it. Look, he'll Rice is a starter. Bellingham's probably a starter, and then you have to pick in between what way you want to play the rest of them.
So interesting. I mean, you mentioned it earlier on. Son. I mean, has he been the biggest beneficiary to Kane moving on? He is. I know Maddison's coming and main man, but Son as well. Kane the main man, took the armband. He's playing. He wouldn't be playing there if Kane was there. He wouldn't be playing up front. And there's an argument, like we spoke about on the podcast a few weeks ago, me, you, Jared, and Meets, that Son's best position may be now through the middle.
Exactly, and that's why he wasn't on my starting in my combined 11.
You want to change that now? You still sticking with Nunes?
No, I'm still sticking with Nunes. We'll leave that for Rome. We should come to Anfield. Look, I think the spotlight now has shifted. Like Kane's always Kane. He deserved the spotlight, but having him gone now, Son, he is the main man. He's thriving under it, and I think because Kane is gone, you can actually kind of, not that you didn't appreciate him, but you can appreciate him more for how good he actually is. He's been consistent now, and he's moved position, and he's still performing. He's still leading the team.
I mean, obviously at the minute, I've heard people make these arguments that even Kane's been holding Spurs back. I mean, I think that's a crazy statement they make. I mean, it was always going to go one way they are. If we were struggling, they were going to be missing Kane. I mean, do you expect at some stage this season they are going to miss Kane?
Aye, because I mean, how can you not? He's one of the best ever strikers in the Premier League. Like it's a silly out there. It's like saying if he took Salah out to Liverpool, would you miss him? Of course you would. It's silly. Like he is ruthless in front of goal, and I'm not like, well, I suppose Son playing there, he has that ruthlessness too. But how can you not miss a player like Kane? If Kane was in that team now, you might be six clear. You know what I mean? It's just.
There's also the argument with Zombie, where would Zombie like, he mightn't get the best out
of him. No. But look, I think anyone saying you don't miss Kane silly. Of course you miss Kane. I know it sounds stupid because you're top league, but you can't. A player Kane's quality, you always want your team no matter what.
My father saying there'll be 5 points clear after Friday night. This is a confidence coming from Spurs fans at the minute. I mean,
I haven't heard this since 2019.
No, I mean Darren Bent was in his second talk sport the other day. He was asking him about Spurs to start the season.
4 years.
He says it's starting to get unbearable and it's starting to be hard to do these shows. I mean, I have to ask you, Callum, before we move on. I mean, what is the chances that can Spurs really win the league?
No, it's just so we can take out the whole bias. I'll just quote what Carragher said, and I don't think Spurs will win the league. No,
do you know what I'm going to ask you? Right, go and name me. Do you see anyone outside the top four at the minute get involved in that top four? Do you think that top four set?
Who's the top four at the minute? Spurs, Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool.
Do you think it'll be in that? That'll be them four, not obviously not in that order, but do you think it'll be them four and no one else?
But currently, you have to say Man City.
I think actually Spurs are 7 points ahead of fifth already, so they've got a healthy advantage.
I know, but you wouldn't back against you throwing that away, like.
No, of course not. But I mean, right. So I want you to do something for me, right? Out of the four teams, I want you to do a probability of 0 to 100. So you've got 100%. You have to divide it up between them four teams on what you think the probability. So say you think it's Man City or 40 or 50, then you have to mix the R teams in between that 50. So I mean, what do you think the probability of Spurs winning is?
Jesus, laddie. Less than 1%.
So you're not even 1%?
Not even, I wouldn't even be 1%.
Liverpool's probability of winning it?
40%. No, less than 30.
30. Arsenal's?
25.
And Man City 45. So you nearly say it's between them three teams that you think it'll be one of them three that'll win it.
Oh well, you aren't going to win it, so it has to be.
All right. At what point do you think you would start to get worried about? I mean, they've got these three games coming up. They've got Palace away on Friday night, and as my dad pointed out, they could go 5 points clear before ball's kicked. Will be irrelevant if the other teams won. Then they have Chelsea at home. Another easy game, was everyone's talking about, these easy starts we've had. Chelsea will be the fourth team out of that top six will play. One more they play this side of Christmas. And then you'd have Wolves away. If they were to win them three games, would that make any difference in your head, or would you still think there's going to be a slip somewhere coming up to Christmas?
I don't think it's necessarily a slip. I just don't think you are good enough to win the league. And even if you won them three games comfortably, it's...
Because I was actually looking today, if they would have won them three games, they would have played 12 games and be on 32 points. Arsenal, after 12 games last year, were top with 31, so it'd actually be a point better off. So again, I do think Spurs are going to come short and they're going to have a stumbling block at some stage, but I still think top four is going to be where they're going to be competing. But I mean, if they get themselves in that position after 12 games, I mean, the belief and the all teams will start to worry.
12 games.
I know that, but I mean,
you can turn around and say belief if it's in May. No, the first week of May.
No, but I mean, Arsenal started out this way last year and kept it going to near April.
No, because I remember I was saying to you last night. I remember Arsenal away to Houston last year, and they blew these away, and I was thinking, Man City have a problem here. But then they I think they played their best football the wrong side of Christmas, whereas Man City done the opposite. So it's
who's going to be top on Christmas Day? Do you think?
I would need to check the fixtures. I don't know.
Well, Liverpool have the most favourable fixtures probably coming up.
I know. I think our next free's very favourable. Like everyone will be laughing at me if I say Liverpool, so I'll say Man City.
I'll take you seriously. The reason I asked you was we're going to talk about the Christmas football. I mean, lots of reports this week, and I'm surprised it hasn't been announced because they've actually surpassed the deadline of 6 weeks. So it should have been out today, and they says they're going to announce the rest of the Christmas fixtures, but I think that can only mean one thing, that's trouble. All signs point they're not going to change their decision on this, and there's going to be at least one game on Christmas Eve. That game being talked about is Wolves against Chelsea. I mean, Callum, where do you start on this? I mean, it's great for us all sitting over here in Ireland, maybe in the pub or something watching it, but I mean, if you're a match day going fan, if we're living in England looking to get to a game, this is terrible.
It's a joke. Have you ever wanted any evidence that the broadcast companies run football? Or is your evidence here? Because there's just zero consideration for the fans, the match going fans. So you say it's handy for us, and we can sit in a pub and watch it, but there's another one too. I think Man United and Newcastle got moved this Saturday night or Sunday, 8 o'clock on the Sunday.
Saturday 8 o'clock on the 2nd of December, I believe.
Exactly. So like that, and there's no trains on. Look, you can bring up 100 million examples of it, but it's that Christmas Eve one. Probably a step too far.
That was all Klopp's fault, though. He was the one says no half 12 games after Champions League games, and now it's moved to 8. Now that's not good enough. So I mean,
it's always Liverpool's fault.
You're exactly. He's got a lot to answer for, and that'll be his next thing. He'll be saying we have to play at 8 o'clock. I mean, one of the things which is very good for especially Irish Premier League fans, especially over Christmas and everyone's kind of off work. I mean, we're hearing there's going to be live games every day from the 23rd. That actually could be wrong. I'm actually hearing now there could be a Friday night game on the 22nd, so it might actually be a game on the 22nd as well, right through to the 2nd of January, except Christmas Day. I mean, apart from the Christmas Eve thing, do you think that's if they had took the Christmas Eve thing out, everyone would have been happy with that? The fact that they're making fans travel on Christmas Eve, that's probably going to cloud all the good around the Christmas. I mean, for me, I love the football at Christmas.
No, like as you say, if they talk about that Christmas Eve fixture, you can't you've no complaints. That everyone loves the Christmas football, as you say, the Boxing Day, the New Year's Day, all stuff like that there. So look, they've clouded it now with that Christmas Eve fixture. I think that's a disgrace, to be honest, to the fans and the players too. You hear Van Dijk talk about the schedule and all the rest of it, but I look at every day. It's grand for us sitting here in Ireland, but at Christmas Eve one does put a stain on it.
Van Dijk could be okay. 250,000 reasons.
No, even I can say out there was about it. It's Chris coming on like.
I mean, the one thing that's definitely we're moving towards is less Saturday football. I mean, that's going to be a big thing because I love Saturday football. I mean, it's looking now like this new TV deal coming in a couple of years' time. All games that aren't 3 o'clock are going to be televised. I mean, I've heard that there possibly might only be 1 or 2 games on a Saturday at 3 o'clock, which, again, it's to protect the football pyramid. But, I mean, eventually it's going to go. So, I mean, are we moving towards that now that it's going to be eventually all games televised legally in the UK?
I mean, I think we pay enough money for it, so we should have it. But look, I love the Saturday 3 o'clock. I love getting the pub, looking at scores and all the rest of it, like everyone our fan does. I think the last games at 3 o'clock's a bad move for football. I think it's the core English football, to be honest. And because of that new TV deal now in 2025, they're going to shift it, and there's only 1 or 2 on. Like it's I don't think there should be anything wrong with having 5 or 6 on, but televise them all because you can just kind of pick and choose what you want. But no, I would still keep as many as you can on Saturday 3 o'clock. I think that's kind of always been the way.
Yeah, you hinted at it earlier on. I mean, do you think the match day fans' loyalty has been totally exploited? Because, I mean, I was listening to a few Chelsea fans, and they says they don't agree with a Christmas Eve kickoff, but they'll be there. They'll travel 130 miles. They'll travel 130 miles to Wolves. They watch that game, pay whatever the money is. They go because they love the club. I mean, is that where they'll always won? That the fans are so devoted that it's. I mean, if the game was played in Mount Everest, they on Christmas Eve they'd find a way to get there, wouldn't they?
Of course, there's always going to be a contingent of fans that'll go there no matter what day it is. It could be if they put a game now for Christmas Day, there'd be fans there too. Like, you know what I mean? It's just the way that our loyalty is unmatched, and do you know what I mean? So the fans are always going to go no matter what, and it's taking a piss. And you can see even going back to lockdown too, where they're charging you £20 for Spurs and Sheffield. Do you know what I mean? So the joke.
What? Well, maybe Jews and Mourinho ball. You pay £20 to watch Ange'S ball. I mean, you're one of them fans too, because I mean, we were speaking today. You're on about going to Liverpool Arsenal on the 23rd of December, and that's looking like it's going to be a 5:30 kickoff. Not confirmed yet, but I mean, it hasn't stopped you.
I can get the ticket back. They cancelled it.
But it wouldn't stop you. You'd travel, no bar.
Oh, hey, if someone handed me a ticket, I'd go there. Do you know what
I mean? I mean, we'll finish off with this a bit. Fixture schedule on Christmas. I mean, a lot of talk about these 12:30 kickoffs. We haven't had you on since. I mean, Liverpool played 12:30 against Wolves after international break. Won the game 3-1. Played 12:30 after international break against Everton. Won the game 2-0. And they will then play 12:30 against Man City after the next international break. And we'll see the outcome of that. But I mean, the way I'm looking at it at the minute, I mean, Liverpool should be playing 12:30 every week. They're winning games. I mean, does it really? I mean, you're obviously saying it's unfair, but I mean, I can see why you think that. But I mean, it hasn't made a difference so far.
I think I know, but it's easy to argue. But I think it's more the frequency of it. I think we had 13. It's going to be 13 now after the break. It's because it's follows straight after the international break. That's where the problem is. Then we had half a squad going to South America, and it's And you argue with me off air that it won't make a difference because against Man City because they have players doing the same too, but Everton didn't have half their squad away. Do you know what I mean? So
But
you're playing a smaller team.
But the argument is Liverpool are still better than Everton, so it really should matter.
Nah, like look, there's so much going on there now. The whole like the
Player welfare.
Player welfare and the kind of sports science and all the rest of it. It does. They wouldn't be arguing it. Every single manager will be arguing it. It's just the fact that it always ends up being Liverpool.
No, it's Klopp, isn't it? I mean,
well,
do you honestly think that if that penalty hadn't been given against Brighton all them years ago in the last month, where they drew the game 1-1, they had won the game 1-0, Klopp would have come out with that after the game?
It's hard to say. Look, I think Klopp gets a bad rap, to be honest, but you know he wasn't half wrong. He wasn't half,
here we go.
You know he wasn't half wrong when Talksport.
No, I agree that it's possibly unfair, having to do that.
Every single manager, if they were in Klopp's position, would complain about it. No two questions asked.
But he can't go back on it now, can he? Because he's already said it's still not right that but he can't go back because he'd look like a fool, wouldn't he? If he says
but he's not going to go back. He's been on this kind of wave now for years. It's not nothing new, like.
And I mean, he's going to have a thing or two to say about this Christmas schedule because he spoke about that before, hasn't he?
He has, but we're getting a winter break now in January, so I'll probably keep him quiet.
I mean, what would happen, just because you're on here, right? What would happen if it was down to the last day of the season between the team that has completely no chance, as you said, won the league, Spurs and Liverpool? Spurs won their game, Liverpool won theirs. Spurs won the league by 1 point. Do you think Liverpool would go back to that game, or do you think they would let it go?
No, you have to let it go. And I don't think they would go back.
Do you trust Klopp to let it go?
No, I think he would. You can't because he didn't get the replay, and so it's hard. It's obviously sure we've had look at the Rodri handball away to Everton trail.
Do you think Liverpool fans would say the Spurs fans it was a tainted title?
Now you're trying to get an answer out of me here. Thankfully, thankfully, Spurs won't be in that position. Don't worry about it. We'll not worry about it.
No, brilliant, Callum. We're going to look ahead to the European games. I won't put you under pressure, but I just had to ask you when you're on there because I remember Carragher mentioned something last night to Maddison about the replay. It is all about a banter, and I mean, look, there's nobody knows wrong decisions and being on the wrong end of decisions more than Spurs fans. So Liverpool fans, we do understand the pain of that decision a few weeks ago. I mean, have to say, Callum, so far the Champions League this I've not been that fussed, and I don't mean that because Spurs ain't done it. Then you're probably a Liverpool fan. It's not because I'm being bad. I haven't seen the quality. I haven't seen a great game so far. I mean,
I'm glad you said it because I don't want to be called biased because we're not on it either. But it's been terrible.
I look forward to Newcastle PSG, but Newcastle just ran them over. It wasn't like a competitive game. Bayern Munich United, even though it was a 4-3, I didn't think it was a great game in terms of quality. It was mistakes, poor defending, poor goalkeeping. And United have it all to do tonight. I know they're playing Copenhagen, but pressure's on. I mean, how do you see that going tonight? I mean, it's basically win or bust.
It is win or bust, and I think they will win it, but it won't be easy. You just don't know Man United at the minute.
I mean, the games they've won, they've only won by 1 goal. So every game
they're scripting past.
And the Bayern Munich are 3-1 up by 7 months ago, so they're going to get another 3 points to get away to Galatasaray. So
I think they're fighting for third more than anything. I don't think they'll finish second.
Who do you see? You see Galatasaray after that one?
I can't. I don't think even Man United fans could argue against the fact that I don't think they'll go away to Galatasaray and get a result. I don't think they have that character in them.
Would you be worried about United if they dropped down the Europa League?
Worried about them? What do you mean?
That they could possibly win it or beat you in the final? Or...
Jesus, they're fighting to stay on this group here.
No, but you have to think you can only improve.
No, fair enough. But no, Liverpool favourites right there will not be far off Dublin.
Arsenal also play Sevilla away tonight. That's probably the pick of the games they watch tonight. I mean, Sevilla have been brutal this season. I mean, defending champions of the Europa League, obviously in the Champions League now, but they seem to be a team that they'll favour dropping out of it. They go out and try and win that again. I mean, new managers come on at the weekend. They got a draw away against Real Madrid. But all or not, they've been pretty poor. I think they're running around saying Lamela is their best player, who really didn't pull up many trees at Spurs. I mean, he tried his best and the Spurs fans loved him, but Apart from
I heard a few different things from you over the years with him.
apart from a few Rabonas and false hope, and playing down the injury table, he didn't do a lot. I mean, do you expect Arsenal to bounce back after that defeat against Lens last time out in the Champions League? And I mean, if they were to lose tonight, pressure's on there as well.
I don't think it's a given, as what I'll say. But look, I didn't think they'd get bit against Lens, but then I checked their home record after the match and they've won like 15 or
Lens have been pretty strong at home.
Really, I don't think it's a given tonight. It could be about a hangover to after Chelsea. It's a hard fought match. Like, I would actually go for a draw there. I don't think Arsenal's a given tonight.
I think a draw will be a decent result though for them because you'd fancy that the games they have left, they go on and won. I mean, tomorrow night, City, I think are playing Young Boys. You'd expect them to won that. Not even going to ask you about that. That's pretty straightforward. Celtic are at home to Atletico Madrid. I mean, again, they were done the last minute against Lazio. They're sitting on 0 points. Really need to get something from this game, but very tough ask against Atletico Madrid.
Can't see it. No, I think I actually seen like a stat the other day. They haven't won their last 18 at home in the Champions League or Europe. So stats are against them. I can't see it. Like,
that's going to be difficult to finish third if they can't get a result.
Exactly. They would need to get something tomorrow night, but I can't see it. Like,
and then obviously they're probably the pick of the English games this week. So again, Newcastle because they're in that group at F. I mean, against Dortmund, big game at home, but St James's Park's a fortress. I mean, they really Liverpool got a great result there, but all or not, they've been pretty strong at home. I mean, if they can win that, it takes them only 7 points. I know they'll have to play 2 of their last 3 games away, but I mean, if they can win against Dortmund, you think then they'd only have to win the our home game and the our 2 away games are really bonus points. You know, if they can win that last home game against Milan, which you would think out of the teams that are in the group, you'd imagine Milan maybe being the most favourable on paper, but that hasn't really worked out in this group because PSG, they were the favourites and they get rinsed. So, I mean, it's a tricky group they call, but I mean, do you think Newcastle can get 2 more wins in that group to see them through?
Well, you know, my mate Owen, he's a big Newcastle fan. I think I was saying to him too, this is them home games. With that crowd, they kind of have that atmosphere about it, that kind of Anfield kind of effect on the one Europe where it's just they suffocate teams and stuff like that there. So no, I think if they won tomorrow night, that's probably them through, I'd say. Maybe. I'd like to get a draw.
Well, they wouldn't be through yet, but I mean, they would need 1 more win probably. They'd be in a strong position. They'd be top of the group, probably be 7 points after 3 games.
Oh, that's because they drew the first match, actually. You're right. So, no, they would need another one then, but they favourite them. Like, so, look, I haven't seen much of Dortmund. I watched the PSG Dortmund game, as you said. It wasn't great quality and they're all the rest of it, but Newcastle will be fancying themselves against both them teams at home, the AC Milan and Dortmund. Like, so if they won both them, they're through. Like.
James is just saying he can't get his head around. Spurs could be 5 points clear. Big Liverpool fan, James. I think even Spurs fans can't believe it. You know, when everything happened in the summer and, you know, Kane moving on and the start of the season. But, I mean, Liverpool are playing Europa League. I mean, we expect them a couple more ones and we'll wrap that group up. But, I mean, just on the Champions League, Callum, I mean, I haven't had you on for a couple of weeks. So, I mean, who do you think are the team they beat in the Champions League? I mean, who do you see being in that final at Wembley at the end of the season?
It's probably a lazy shout, but I can't really see much other teams on it than the Man City and probably Madrid. I don't know, maybe Bayern if they were to go and maybe if they got Palhinha or Fulham in January, maybe. But at the moment, I don't think they'll be too far off, but I don't think they'll win it. I think Man City's a team to beat. They suck seeing them doing back-to-back Champions Leagues, but I don't think they'll be far off in any of their Madrid, obviously. Outside of them too, you don't really see many top teams on it. Like maybe I'm missing someone, I can't remember now. But you have Bayern, Man City, Real Madrid. I can't. There's always like a kind of because no one expected under. There's always kind of a team that goes far. You don't really expect to go far, but
who would be your favourites then? And out of them 3?
Probably Man City.
Man City. Callum, we'll finish off looking ahead to the weekend's games. I'm just going to ask you for some quick fire predictions, not score predictions, just to fancy in certain games, and that'll wrap us up for the evening. Weekend actually kicks off on Friday night. Crystal Palace against Spurs. I mean, I'm not going to complain.
I feel like we haven't Spurs hasn't left our mouth here,
No. Fixture schedule and all that, but they'll not bother us. I think we'll be all right. Palace against Spurs. Do you see Palace stopping the Spurs renaissance at the minute, or will it roll on another week at least?
I'm going to go on another week. I don't think it'll be as easy as Fulham, but because Selhurst's a difficult ground to go to away. on Friday night. But if you just look at the way Palace are playing, I think it's only going one way. And unfortunately, Spurs are going 5 clear on Friday night.
Spurs 5 clear. 12:30 Saturday, Chelsea, Brentford. Big test for Chelsea now. Can they start getting on a run? Brentford will make it difficult. But I mean, Chelsea will be favourites. So how do you see that going?
Brentford away from home. You probably just going off Saturday. I'll fancy Chelsea just.
Arsenal against Sheffield United. I mean, Sheffield United are desperate at the moment. I mean, it's going the same way it happened the last time. They had 1 point for so many weeks before they got the next one. So, I mean, long, hard season. Arsenal should be the game for Arsenal. They put a few goals past somebody.
Definitely. Look, then teams always get a result. No, that's a freak one somewhere, but I don't think it'll be this weekend, I know.
Huge game at the bottom. Bournemouth against Burnley. Two of them are really struggling. Bournemouth haven't won a game yet. I mean, do you think that the loser of that could be in trouble? And if there is a loser in terms of manager-wise, could be in big trouble?
Did I not see that Bournemouth was looking to sack your man already, or did I think someone was looking to sack their manager? I think
somebody was asking, can he reverse the Gownie decision?
I think if Bournemouth gets bit, they'll be looking more at sacking. I think Burnley are happy enough with Company. I don't think he'll get sacked.
How do you see that going? Tight.
I think Burnley they just ship goals. I think Bournemouth will beat them.
Bournemouth will get their first one. 5:30 game, Wolves against Newcastle. Wolves have been decent this year against the big teams, especially. I mean, that won't be easy for Newcastle.
Geez, the way you spoke last night, I'm thinking 4-5-0 Wolves here, but no, look, as you seen last night, he'll have a plan for them. He'll set up well. Your man Tonali is going to get banned too, so he's not going to be playing for them now. But I'll go for Newcastle one.
Newcastle. Sunday then, funny kick times this week because of the clocks going back on Saturday night. They don't want to interrupt the players' preparation. Must have been Klopp organised that too, was it? So West Ham against Everton's actually 1 o'clock kickoff. How do you see that game going?
West Ham Everton, do you say? West Ham's playing well. Everton away from home are diabolical, so that's only going one way. I think West Ham with them.
Villa Luton.
Just going to the next one.
Villa are flying. I have to say,
Ollie Watkins will have a sleepless night. He can't wait to get out, and he'll be looking at a hat-trick.
You know what? I kind of wrote off all the sort of season, especially after that Newcastle game. But I tell you what, they are absolutely shit. They're flying.
What is it? 11 straight ones at home in the league.
Oh, it'll be 12 to you. You can't see Luton stopping them.
No, exactly.
They're playing some serious stuff. Brighton against Fulham. You said Fulham are poor. I think the likes of Fulham are very fortunate. There's some poor teams below them.
100%. You can say the same for Everton too. You just don't see where the goals are coming from. I fancy them to get bit the way Brighton play too.
Liverpool against Nottingham Forest. Forest are desperate away from home too. So you mean Liverpool? You expect
we made hard work of that game last season too when they came down. I'd be distraught if it won that. So Liverpool won that.
And the weekend rounds off for the Manchester derby. United being at home. Shout out to Sarah and Keelan. They're actually going to that game. My sister and her fellas going to that game for Keelan's birthday. So that'll be a good game for them to go to. But I mean, how do you see that game going? I mean, all the pressure's on Man City really because no one's expecting United to.
So I remember too the last year when they went to Old Trafford. Man United give them a decent game. I think they do kind of get an extra 5-10% when Man City come, but it's always hard to look past Man City, isn't it? But I don't think it'll be a steamroll, is what I'm saying. The kind of 6-3 wasn't it?
I have a funny feeling United might get a result, maybe a draw or something. Being
that's what I'm thinking too, but I don't want to say it.
Not that I think United are great, but I just think City are.
I just feel like they'll have that extra 5-10% or something, and they might get a draw or something out there.
City haven't been at themselves so far this season. But Callum, thanks for coming on. Great show as always. I don't want to put you under some serious PR with some of them questions. So I mean, before you finish off, go and give me that top 5 prediction then for the season. You think
top 5
and the order you think, and I want you to go with what you think. So don't be holding back.
No,
tells you everything when Liverpool fans are cheering on United to beat Man City because they don't really see United as a threat.
not exactly. That's true anyway. Man City first, Liverpool second, Arsenal third. The way you're playing, you have to put you fourth. You could even go third, to be honest. Um,
Mm.
I think that top four at the minute, it's obviously things can change, injuries could happen, but I think that top four at the minute names itself, and then
And who
fifth
sneaks in on fifth?
gonna go Newcastle. I think they have the most consistency, the most settled group. I'm gonna go Emirates.
And final question: how far, by your estimate, did Liverpool run Man City? Do they go all the way again to the last day?
If Man City keep playing the way they're playing, like they're not blowing teams away, and I probably.
Tell
But
you what, I think there's a serious opportunity for somebody to do something this year. I think
I,
City are
I,
vulnerable, and it's brave to say it because they've done it before, but just seems like they're vulnerable. And I do think January is going to be a big window for the likes of Liverpool. If Spurs are still in a situation come January, have to sign players, and Arsenal as well. If they can go and sign a striker, it could
I
really
know.
be
I feel like we
for
say
Man
this.
City.
We say this every October, November about Man City, and then February, March comes around, they just keep their one machine. Then so I'll say nothing yet.
I want to thank everybody for their comments. Some cracker comments coming on there. I think a few boys enjoyed themselves. Callum, I don't know if Callum enjoyed himself. He was the
No,
spotlight. I
I
seen
was
him.
good.
I seen him brushing his forehead at one point there. But no, make sure if you haven't watched before, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel for more content. Callum, thanks very much. I'm going to be back on Friday night with Jamie Noonan, the Man City fan, and another fan from a Man United fan. We're going to be previewing the Manchester derby. Somebody asked me if we need a 1 to 11. I don't think so. I think it's pretty much pointless, but we might do it for somebody anyway. But no, we'll be back on Friday night around 6 o'clock. Because of course Spurs do play at 8 o'clock, and we wouldn't want anybody missing any more Irons Ball. So again, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time. Thanks very much again, Kel.
No worries. See you out there.